Aria breathed in the fragrance of the blooming roses as she strolled through the ornate gardens of her family's estate. She was the epitome of elegance, her long silk gown trailing behind her as she moved with grace and poise. As the daughter of the esteemed Montague family, she was accustomed to a life of luxury and privilege. But beneath her composed exterior, a yearning stirred, a longing for something beyond the confines of her opulent surroundings. Meanwhile, in the bustling streets of Verona, Luca toiled away in his modest workshop, his hands skilled in the art of crafting exquisite jewelry. Despite the hardships he faced as the son of a humble artisan, Luca possessed a quiet strength and determination. His dark eyes sparkled with passion and ambition, his heart set on proving himself worthy of recognition in a society that often overlooked those of his station. In the heart of Renaissance-era Verona, where rival families ruled the city with an iron fist, the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets was legendary. For generations, these noble houses had been locked in a bitter conflict, their animosity permeating every aspect of daily life. It was against this backdrop of simmering tension and ancient grudges that the paths of Aria and Luca would inevitably cross, setting into motion a tale of forbidden love that would defy the very foundations of society. The bustling market square of Verona teemed with life as merchants hawked their wares and street performers entertained the crowds. Aria wandered through the throng, her curiosity piqued by the vibrant array of goods on display. As she paused to admire a display of intricately woven tapestries, her gaze was suddenly drawn to a young man across the square. Luca stood amidst the hustle and bustle, his hands deftly shaping a piece of silver into a delicate pendant. Aria couldn't tear her eyes away from him, captivated by the intensity of his focus and the skill of his craftsmanship. Their eyes met across the crowded marketplace, and in that fleeting moment, a spark ignited between them, a connection that transcended the boundaries of their feuding families. Drawn by an inexplicable force, Aria made her way through the crowd until she stood before Luca's makeshift stall. Their first words were hesitant, cautious, yet laced with an undercurrent of undeniable chemistry. As they exchanged pleasantries, Aria felt a sense of liberation she had never experienced before, a freedom to be herself, unencumbered by the expectations of her family and society. As the day waned and the market began to empty, Aria and Luca found themselves lingering in each other's company, reluctant to part ways. With a shy smile and a lingering touch, they made plans to meet again, their hearts brimming with the promise of a forbidden romance that defied all logic and reason. And so, in the shadow of their family's ancient feud, Aria and Luca embarked on a journey of love that would test the very limits of their courage and devotion. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Aria and Luca's clandestine meetings became the highlight of their lives. With each stolen moment spent in each other's company, their feelings deepened, blossoming into a love that defied the boundaries imposed by their feuding families and society. In the hidden alcoves of Verona's labyrinthine streets, Aria and Luca shared secrets, dreams, and whispered promises of forever. Their love was a delicate flower, thriving in the shadows cast by their family's ancient feud, its petals unfurling under the warmth of their shared affection. Yet, for all the joy their forbidden romance brought them, Aria and Luca could not escape the ever-looming specter of discovery. The threat of being caught by their families or the city's authorities hung over them like a sword, casting a shadow of fear and uncertainty over their blossoming love. They stole kisses in secluded courtyards and exchanged love letters in the dead of night, always vigilant, always wary of prying eyes and betrayals. Every whispered word, every stolen touch was a risk they were willing to take, for the sweetness of their love outweighed the bitter sting of consequence. But as their feelings for each other grew stronger, so too did the obstacles they faced. Rumors began to swirl through the city streets, whispers of forbidden love and clandestine meetings that threatened to expose Aria and Luca's secret to the world. With each passing day, the pressure mounted, their world shrinking ever smaller as the walls closed in around them. Yet, in the face of adversity, Aria and Luca clung to each other, their love a beacon of hope in a world darkened by hatred and mistrust. Together, they would defy the expectations of their families and society, standing side by side against the forces that sought to tear them apart. For Aria and Luca knew that true love was worth fighting for, even in the face of insurmountable odds. And so, hand in hand, they braved the storm of opposition, their hearts united in a love that knew no bounds. The delicate balance of Aria and Luca's secret romance was shattered when whispers of their forbidden love reached the ears of Aria's family. Shock and disbelief rippled through the Montague household as news of their daughter's involvement with a member of the rival Capulet family spread like wildfire. Aria's parents, proud and aristocratic, were quick to condemn her actions, their faces contorted with outrage and disdain. They had spent years cultivating their family's reputation and status, only to have it tarnished by their daughter's reckless defiance of societal norms. In a flurry of accusations and recriminations, Aria's siblings added their voices to the chorus of condemnation, their loyalty to the Montague name outweighing any sympathy they may have felt for their wayward sister. Betrayed and abandoned, Aria found herself ostracized by her own flesh and blood, her love for Luca deemed unworthy of their acceptance. Meanwhile, in the humble confines of Luca's family home, a similar scene played out as news of his involvement with a Montague reached his parents' ears. Shock turned to anger, anger to indignation, as Luca's family grappled with the implications of their son's forbidden romance. With each passing moment, the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets grew more volatile, fueled by the betrayal of their respective heirs. Old wounds reopened, grievances long buried resurfaced, and the fragile truce that had held the families in check for so long threatened to collapse under the weight of their mutual animosity. But amid the chaos and turmoil, Aria and Luca clung to each other, their love a beacon of hope in a world torn apart by hatred and mistrust. For though their families may have turned against them, their bond remained unbreakable, their hearts united in a love that defied all reason and logic. And so, as the storm of opposition raged around them, Aria and Luca stood firm, ready to fight for their right to be together, no matter the cost. As the feud between their families escalated, Aria and Luca found themselves caught in a painful tug of war between love and loyalty. Each day brought new challenges, new betrayals, and new heartaches as they grappled with the impossible choice before them. For Aria, torn between her love for Luca and her allegiance to her family, the weight of expectation bore down upon her like a leaden cloak. She had been raised to honor and obey her parents, to uphold the traditions and values of the Montague name. But with each passing moment spent in Luca's company, her resolve wavered, her heart torn between duty and desire. Similarly, Luca struggled to reconcile his love for Aria with his loyalty to his own kin. He had always been taught to put family above all else, to prioritize the needs of the Capulet household over his own desires. But as the rift between their families widened, Luca found himself questioning the beliefs that had shaped his identity, wondering if love could truly conquer all. Amidst the turmoil, Aria and Luca found themselves beset by doubts and fears, their minds consumed by the agonizing choice that lay before them. They longed for a world where love and loyalty could coexist harmoniously, where they could follow their hearts without fear of reprisal or recrimination. But the reality was far harsher, far more unforgiving. As the pressure mounted and the stakes grew higher, Aria and Luca knew that they could no longer afford to remain passive bystanders in their own lives. They had to make a choice, to take a stand, to defy the expectations of their families and society in order to pursue the love that burned so brightly within their souls. And so, with trembling hands and determined hearts, Aria and Luca vowed to fight for their love, to brave the storm of opposition and forge their own path forward, no matter the cost. For in each other's arms, they found the strength to defy convention, to defy destiny, and to embrace the boundless possibilities of a love that knew no bounds. As the forbidden love between Aria and Luca continued to flourish, tensions between the Montague and Capulet families reached a boiling point, igniting a powder keg of animosity and resentment that threatened to tear Verona apart at the seams. The streets of the city became battlegrounds, where petty squabbles erupted into violent clashes between rival factions. Aria and Luca found themselves at the center of the storm, their love serving as a catalyst for the escalating conflict that engulfed their families and the wider community. Acts of sabotage and subterfuge became commonplace as the feud spiraled out of control, each side determined to emerge victorious at any cost. Aria's family launched smear campaigns against the Capulets, spreading malicious rumors and lies designed to tarnish their reputation and undermine their influence. Meanwhile, Luca's family retaliated with equal fervor, orchestrating acts of vandalism and intimidation that struck fear into the hearts of their rivals. The once bustling streets of Verona became deserted wastelands, haunted by the specter of violence and bloodshed. Caught in the crossfire were innocent bystanders, whose lives were irrevocably altered by the senseless feud that consumed the city. Homes were destroyed, businesses ruined, lives shattered by the relentless tide of hatred and mistrust. As the toll of the conflict mounted, Aria and Luca found themselves facing a stark choice: to continue their forbidden love in the face of overwhelming opposition, or to succumb to the weight of their family's expectations and sacrifice their happiness for the greater good. But even as the world around them descended into chaos, Aria and Luca remained steadfast in their devotion to each other, their love a beacon of hope in a world darkened by hatred and division. For though the path ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, they knew that as long as they had each other, they could weather any storm, overcome any obstacle, and emerge stronger together on the other side. As the conflict between their families reached its zenith, Aria and Luca found themselves backed into a corner, their backs against the wall, with nowhere left to turn. In a climactic moment of defiance, they made the decision to cast off the shackles of their family's expectations and forge their own destiny together. With hearts heavy with determination and eyes alight with resolve, Aria and Luca vowed to defy the forces that sought to tear them apart, to fight for their love with every fiber of their beings. They knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but they were willing to brave the unknown together, united in their quest for freedom and happiness. In the dead of night, under the cover of darkness, Aria and Luca made their escape from Verona, slipping away from the city that had been their prison for far too long. With only the clothes on their backs and the promise of a better future to guide them, they embarked on a perilous journey into the unknown, leaving behind everything they had ever known in search of a life where their love could flourish without fear or persecution. Their flight from Verona was fraught with danger at every turn, as they navigated treacherous terrain and evaded the relentless pursuit of their feuding families. But through sheer determination and unwavering courage, Aria and Luca pressed on, their love serving as a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. And so, against all odds, Aria and Luca emerged from the shadows of their past, their spirits unbroken, their hearts aflame with the promise of a future filled with possibility and promise. For in each other's arms, they had found the strength to defy fate, to defy destiny, and to carve out a new beginning far from the reach of their feuding families. As they gazed out upon the horizon, hand in hand and hearts entwined, Aria and Luca knew that their journey was far from over. But with the love that burned brightly within their souls as their guide, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident in the knowledge that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything that stood in their way. In a distant village, nestled amidst rolling hills and verdant meadows, Aria and Luca found refuge from the storm of persecution that had plagued their lives for so long. Here, amidst the simple beauty of the countryside, they could finally be together without fear or reservation, their love blossoming like the wildflowers that carpeted the landscape. As they settled into their new life, Aria and Luca discovered a sense of peace and contentment that had long eluded them. They worked side by side, tending to the land and building a home filled with warmth and laughter. With each passing day, their bond grew stronger, their love deepening with every shared moment. Though they had left behind the opulence of their former lives, Aria and Luca found riches far greater than any material wealth. The love that they shared, pure and unyielding, was a treasure beyond compare. And as they basked in the glow of their newfound happiness, they knew that they had finally found the place where they truly belonged. As the years passed, Aria and Luca's love became the stuff of legend, a beacon of hope for all who knew their story. They became beacons of light in a world darkened by prejudice and hatred, their love serving as a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to triumph over adversity. And so, as the sun set on their journey, Aria and Luca stood hand in hand, their hearts full of gratitude for the love that had guided them through the darkest of times. For though their path had been fraught with challenges and obstacles, they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more deeply in love than ever before. As they looked out upon the world that lay before them, Aria and Luca knew that their love would endure for all eternity, a beacon of hope in a world that so often seemed devoid of light. And with that knowledge in their hearts, they stepped forward into the future, ready to face whatever adventures lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that as long as they had each other, they could weather any storm.